This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Wednesday, May 11th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News digital edition starts right now. Hi there, and thank you for joining us. A bill which will change how security is handled at the Saskatchewan Legislature is in the process of being passed. Bill 70 was introduced last fall and has been debated in committee for 20 hours. Once passed, the Sergeant-at-Arms will be replaced by a new security director. The director would be appointed by government and have a team of at least 10 armed and uniformed officers. The sergeant would be responsible for the security inside the legislative chamber, but not the building or its grounds, which has been the case for more than 30 years. Instead, the new director and his staff will be responsible for those areas. The opposition says it's concerned about the independence of the new force and the ability for people to protest on the grounds. But the minister responsible says the bill is not meant to crack down on legal protests.
If they're going to protest, we want them to protest here. We don't want them to protest at people's homes. We want them here. And provide that safe and secure environment where they can come here, express their views, protest according to our Constitution, and be safe in doing so.
As long as protests are lawful, as long as there is nothing violent happening, we need to continue to allow protests to happen outside of this building. That's one of the fundamental pillars of democracy.
SAR wants the government to amend the legislation to have the new security director answerable to the Speaker. The minister says the government is not interested in changing the bill. It's expected to be voted on next week. The number of Indigenous-owned businesses in Saskatchewan is growing rapidly, and that trend shows no sign of slowing. Jason Warwick reports.
I'm able to support my whole household, which I just never would have thought.
Ali Urbachek started baking a couple of years ago. It helped her deal with postpartum depression. It also turned into a successful business. She's a member of Pipikasis Cree Nation and says she wants to serve as a role model for other Indigenous women entrepreneurs.
I grew up really poor. My mom was a teenage single parent, and I'm really blessed to be where I am today in life, and I will never forget where I came from, so giving back to my community will always be something that is really important to me.
Urbachek is not alone. In the past decade in Saskatoon, the number of Indigenous-owned businesses has more than doubled, and spending by those businesses has more than tripled to $600 million last year. Officials say it's the same story across the province, and many of these businesses are giving back to their communities.
When we talk business and entrepreneurship in the Indigenous culture, money and profit isn't the all-and be-all, I think is what they say.
Tutusas and others say the number of Indigenous businesses will keep on growing. As for Urbachek, she'll be busy teaching a kids' baking class this weekend. She's also planning more cake and cookie donations for homeless people and low-income single moms, part of her goal to support her family and her community. Jason Warwick, CBC News, Saskatoon.
You might soon be paying more money if you own an abandoned property in Regina. An inventory of boarded-out houses in July of last year found 129 houses in the North Central neighborhood alone. The report shows these properties are prone to vandalism, squatters, and arson. Today, Executive Committee unanimously voted in favor of amendments to the city bylaw concerning abandoned and vacant properties. Some of the proposed amendments include fines starting at $1,500 for an unsecured building and limiting appeals to accelerate the process.
Removing the right to appeal, that will enable the bylaw enforcement branch to deal with those situations much more efficiently, meaning we don't have to issue an order to wait that 15 days for somebody to appeal the order to then go and board up that structure and hope that they don't file the appeal. This means that with that particular amendment, we would be able to secure the structure the same day.
Regina City Council will have the final say at a future meeting. The Saskatchewan government is planning to add a new gender option on traffic ticket forms later this year. It follows similar recent changes by SGI. As Jesse Anton reports, some advocates say this could be a step forward, as long as it comes with meaningful systemic change.
Starting this fall, there's set to be another checkbox beside the M and F for male and female on summary offense forms like traffic tickets, a new gender-neutral X. The Saskatchewan government says it's to follow suit with the new options currently available on licenses and photo IDs. SGI now allows people to opt for either an X or to leave it blank if they so choose.
Obviously, I think SGI would prefer nobody ever got a traffic ticket, nobody ever got, sped or drove distracted, but tickets do happen, and so it makes sense to have that alignment there.
Police services across Saskatchewan call the update a positive development, saying it will lead to better interactions with people in gender-diverse communities, and advocates hope that's the case.
It is a step in the right direction, but ultimately it is largely performative. It's great you've got it on this ticket, but does that also get reflected everywhere else, right? Are we actually including trans and gender diverse lives everywhere else for this system?
Police across Saskatchewan tell CBC News they're committed to inclusiveness, citing mandatory diversity training for officers and civilian members. In Regina, for example, police say some sessions include lessons on historical events in the LGBTQ+ community, like the bathhouse raids, with notes on accepted and respectful terminology when dealing with gender-diverse people. In a statement, Regina Police add as well its policies also reflect this change with provisions to ensure people in RPS custody are treated with respect. Saskatoon Police echoed that, hoping the Gender X updates will create room for much-needed dialogue.
So I think what this does is it provides an opportunity for greater understanding and greater learning,
with a common goal to better communication and the lives of everyone, no matter how they identify. Jesse Anton, CBC News, Regina.
Some parking enforcement officers in Saskatoon have a new accessory on their uniforms. They're wearing body cameras on the job in an attempt to help when it comes to tense situations. More than 20 officers have been given the cameras. Officials say there have been vicious assaults on officers trying to give out parking tickets. Some have even ended up hospitalized. Fortunately, that's rare, but it is why the cameras will be used now. They will only be turned on if a parking officer feels threatened. We're told any footage recorded will be subject to strict privacy measures. Saskatchewan has a serious shortage in lab technicians, according to the Canadian Society for Medical Laboratory Science. It says there are 150 fewer lab techs in the province now compared to 10 years ago. That's created a backlog for processing medical procedure tests. The group says enrollment in lab tech programs is up, but schools face capacity limits. It's now calling on both levels of government to make it easier for foreign-trained lab techs to get jobs here. A Conservative MP says the Saskatchewan government has dropped the ball on single-event sports betting. Kevin Waugh introduced a private members bill which cleared the way for legal single-event wagering in this country. Provinces were able to regulate it as of last summer, but aside from what's offered in Sports Select, the Saskatoon Grasswood MP says it isn't available in Saskatchewan, unlike other provinces.
So what does that mean? Lots of people are still going offshore in Saskatchewan, and we're getting no money out of that. So once you get that going, and it's hard to get these offshore customers to play in Saskatchewan and Canada legally. It's going to take a long time because they've been playing for years. And many of them are still playing offshore in Saskatchewan right now because we don't have it.
Last September, the provincial government announced the Saskatchewan Indian Gaming Authority would offer single-event sports betting in the province. A SIGA official tells us it's taking time because it's a highly regulated industry and there are many gaming-related entities and partners that it has to work with. The senior VP of operations says an online site should be launched by the fall. With labor unrest growing, CFL rookie camps kicked off today. The riders have returned to their training camp home in Saskatoon, unsure of what the next few days may bring. More than 60 players took to the field at Griffith Stadium this morning. Most are rookies, hoping to impress the coaches enough over 3 days to earn an invitation to main camp, which begins on Sunday. Conspicuous by his absence was Cody Fajardo, who, along with the rest of the veteran quarterbacks across the league, were advised by their Players Association not to attend a rookie camp. The CFLPA has also advised the rest of its membership not to travel to training camp until further notice. The current collective bargaining agreement expires this Saturday.
I know, because here's the thing. I don't know what's going on in those rooms, and neither does any of you or anybody else. So we let the people that are in those rooms figure it out, and I think they'll get it figured out. I'm quite optimistic that we'll have everybody here when they're supposed to be here.
It's believed the league was preparing a new offer today to present to the players. The latest offer contained many concerns for the Players Association, including 0 increases to the salary cap for 10 years and changes to the player ratio, which means a reduction of the number of Canadians on a roster.
This weather update is brought to you by Capital Ford Lincoln. The exclusive export event is back.
And Ethan Williams joins me now with a look at your forecast. We had a pretty nice day today.
Yeah, it was pretty nice out there, Sam, but the rain is on its way, but thankfully not as much for the north of the province this time around. The north still recovering from heavy rains over the weekend. In fact, the only highway in and out of the community of Sandy Bay near Pelican Narrows is still closed. It's Highway 135, completely washed out. Now, earlier today, I spoke with Randy Mallory, the principal of the school in Sandy Bay, and he says staff aren't able to get to the building, but the road closure is also having a much bigger impact.
We don't have a grocery store in the community. So all of our food that we get for the kids, and we provide breakfast and lunch every day, is shipped in. We are in a low socioeconomic area, so it's a concern for us always to be able to provide something for the kids when they come in.
Now, the good news is the Highways Ministry telling us today that that road should be open by tomorrow afternoon. It looks like they're going to be putting in a temporary bridge in there tomorrow. And this is the area that we're talking about, courtesy of the Highway Hotline. Here's Pelican Narrows here, and you can see Sandy Bay just to the north. And it's that northern section of the road. But again, tomorrow afternoon should be reopened, provided there aren't any more flooding issues. Where we could have some flooding issues are in southwestern Manitoba and southeastern Saskatchewan come Friday. This is a significant weather statement in effect for the southeast part of the province, including Estevan, Yorkton, and Regina, for 30 to 50 millimeters possible, with the system moving in through the day Friday and then finally departing us on Saturday. A little earlier this afternoon, we had some showers moving through the southeast part of the province, but those are starting to die down and should be gone by the time we get to this evening. Maybe some spotty showers in the southeast overnight, as well as some spotty showers or flurries in the northern part of the province. But by tomorrow morning, the first part of that system is going to start to move into the extreme south part of Saskatchewan, and then we get to tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening, and this is the low pressure system, and it starts building in heavy rain and maybe even some mixed precipitation in parts of central and northern Saskatchewan, but I think for the most part it should just stay as rain showers. And then as we get into Saturday, it starts to move out. The north on the backside of this could see some flurries, probably not any crazy heavy snow, but still that, especially that eastern half, could see some flurries throughout the day on Saturday. Here's a look at accumulation amounts, and again, generally between 30 and 50 millimeters, not out of the question for many communities. And with thunderstorms, we could also see precipitation levels reaching 60 millimeters locally in some places. We will see wind gusts pick up as well. I think through the night tonight and through much of tomorrow, we'll see calm conditions through much of the province. That southeast corner could see gusts between 40 and 50 kilometers an hour. But by the time we get to Friday, there's that system starting to swirl in, and gusts really picking up around the Yorkton-Melville area, close to 70, maybe even 80 kilometers an hour. And then as we get into Saturday, things start to die down. Here's a look at a very soggy forecast for Regina over the next 7 days. Between Thursday night and through the day Friday, possibly between 40 and 50 millimeters. A cool day on Friday as well. We're only hitting single-digit temperatures before we do rebound. We get a little bit of a warm-up heading into Sunday and Monday. We could see the showers return on Tuesday, and then as we get into Wednesday, a mix of sun and clouds. Saskatoon, I think the system will still hit you. It won't, the bullseye of the system will be to your south. So on Friday, we'll still have a cool day with close to 10 millimeters of rain. We'll see breezy conditions, mostly cloudy skies on Saturday. And then we get a warm up as we head into the beginning of next week. And Sam, it kind of feels like we're riding an amusement park ride here when it comes to our temperatures and our sky conditions over the next few days.
We talked about this. We don't need all this moisture in some areas.
Yes.
Have that conversation, please.
Got any bribe money?
Thanks, Ethan.
You're welcome.
And before we leave you, people looking to enjoy Saskatchewan great outdoors have another way to gain access to regional parks this summer. Starting next month, anyone who wants to visit these parks can borrow a pass from their local library. 800 passes are available to be lent out to anyone with a valid library card, and they'll get you free access to nearly 100 regional parks province-wide. So far, 4 major libraries are on board with the program. That includes the main branches in Saskatoon, Moose Jaw, Weyburn, and Ayr Ranch. That's it for us today. For news anytime, you can always head to our website or subscribe to the CBC Saskatchewan YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching.